room, feel the energy rise. We lift you high, open up your eyes. Personal growth like the morning sun. Lead with purpose, see what can be done. Make your mark and make it bold. Water the seed, let your future unfold. Personal growth, professional rise. Shape your dreams, purpose realize. From the roots up, we steady grow. Building teams with a steady flow. Leadership calling, hear the rhythm play. Guiding your path to a brighter day. Make your mark and make it bold. Water the seeds, let your future unfold. Personal growth, professional rise. Shape your dreams, purpose realize.
Senator the Honorable Aubyn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Mr. Richard Biles, Governor of the Bank of Jamaica. Ms. Natasha Marzoff, Country Representative for the IDB Group in Jamaica. Bishop Dwight Fletcher, Chairman and Senior Pastor of Transformed Life Church. Mr. Emile Leiba, President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd, Convener and Managing Director of Make Your Mark Consultants, or other esteemed speakers, sponsors, guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very special good morning to you all. My name is Talia Soares-Brown, and I'll be your host for our two-day conference, and I do want to thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, Make Your Mark Consultants was created to provide world-class business and people development services locally, globally, and internationally. And of course, this year marks our 16th annual Middle Managers Leadership Conference under the theme Stewards of Power, Bridging Vision and Results. And to be having a conference for 16 years is no easy feat, so I think that we should give them a round of applause, because it simply means that they're doing something extraordinary, and they're changing lives every single year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your organization has definitely seen the need to increase your level of differentiation by sending you here. So your adaptability is paramount to today's proceedings. Now, as we get by and we go through our careers, you tend to realize that leadership is no longer just about position. Do you agree with me, or would you agree with me? So having a title is one thing, but it's also about translation. And when we talk about translation, we're talking about putting ideas into action, strategy into execution, and of course, vision into measurable, real results. So that's why we're here today, ladies and gentlemen. We do also want to thank all our sponsors who helped to make this possible. Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Make Your Mark Group, Visual Vibe, Leadership Made Simple, Intelligent Multimedia Limited, CIBC Caribbean Bank, Ayuda Digital, Visual Tech Solutions, the Jamaica Observer, Monographic Printers, Supply County, Nationwide 90 FM, the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, Money Media, Courts Jamaica, Sagicor Group, Digicel, GMMB, The Essentials, and Grace Kennedy Group. Thank you so much to all our sponsors. Now, to kickstart today's proceedings, of course, we do have to bring the presence of the Lord into the midst. So at this time, let's invite Bishop Dwight Fletcher to bless us today. And let's put our hands together for him.
Good morning, everyone. For 16 years, and 16 years is just such an incredible accomplishment, this conference has been investing in people like yourself, leaders, strengthening organizations and helping to shape the future of leadership in Jamaica. And this year's theme, Stewards of Power, Bridging Vision and Results, speaks directly to the moment that we are living in. It's almost like Dr. Jackie and her team has her finger on the pulse. And we already know it, Talia said it, that leadership is more than a title. It's influence. and leadership needs to be stewarded. And the middle managers in general carry just this unique assignment. You stand between vision and execution. You transform ideas into action and strategy into corporate culture. You turn potential into performance. And that is no small responsibility. But thank God for these next 2 days, right? That this conference will be a place where I pray that it will renew your vision, that it will be a place that you establish meaningful connection, and that you experience personal growth, that you will leave sharper, stronger, more equipped to lead, and with greater confidence and authenticity in your job. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this gathering. Lord, you are the one who has created in us the ability and the intelligence to function. So today I lift up every manager, executive, entrepreneur, and professional in this room. We ask that you grant wisdom in decision-making, strength for responsibility, clarity for vision, and grace under pressure. Help us, Lord, and teach us to steward influence well. Help us to lead with competence, integrity, humility, and compassion. May we build healthy teams, strong organizations, and workplaces where people can flourish and grow. I pray for each session, every speaker, every conversation, and every connection that will happen over these next 2 days. Let ideas flow. Let innovation emerge. Let problems be solved. Let collaboration be strengthened. And let every participant leave empowered to lead at a higher level. Father, we also pray for Jamaica. Raise up leaders across every sector of this nation who will lead with wisdom and courage, accountability, and vision. May our country benefit from leaders who serve with excellence and purpose. Father, as we begin this conference, may we commit to growth. And I, Lord, commit it into your hands. May your favor rest on it. May your peace guide it. And may all that is done have a lasting impact on every participant. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much, Bishop Fletcher, for blessing our proceedings today and tomorrow. And he is the chairman and senior pastor of the Transformed Life Church. Thank you so much, Bishop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to formally set the tone for today's conference, it is my pleasure to introduce a leader whose vision continues to shape platforms like this one. She's a driving force behind empowering professionals and elevating leadership standards across industries. She's a distinguished business leader with over 30 years of experience shaping organizations, leaders, and national development initiatives across Jamaica, the Caribbean, and internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together for Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd.
Thank you, Talia. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. 16 years. I look 16, don't it? Just almost. Bishop Dwight Fletcher, Senator Aubyn Hill, Mr. Emile Leiba, Governor Richard Biles, Mr. Tasha Marsoff. I see some of our other presenters here, Mr. Frank James. Didn't I say Emile Leiba? No? I did, correct. Mr. Frank James, Anne-Marie Walters, and of course, we have Nationwide News Network represented here today. George Davis will take us through our CEO session. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to host this conference, not because it's a conference, but because at the end of 2 days, we know that we have impacted the lives of over 300 Jamaicans, and of course, across the region, we have another set of persons who are online. And that for us means success. For us, a conference is not about coming to have a discussion, it's about impact, execution, and change, which our country needs, which our organizations and professionals need to change and grow in order for the country to grow. I'd like to take host license today, just to welcome my family. My son, Jason Lloyd, representing Supply County. I don't know where he is. And I also have my brother, B.B. Cook, who is joining us from the USA. He'll be presenting with us. And we hope Senator Hill, I know that we're on a campaign to bring back people to Jamaica. So maybe B.B. Cook will choose to come back and help us here in Jamaica. So it's a distinct honor to welcome you all once again. Last year, we gathered to celebrate 15 years of legacy and change and transformation. We looked back at the seed we planted and the 30,000 leaders we have nurtured since. But as any steward knows, a legacy is not a monument to be admired. It is a foundation upon which we must build. Our theme for 2026, Stewards of Power, Bridging Vision and Results, is a call to move beyond merely managing into the realm of true stewardship. At Make Your Mark Consultants, our mission remains fixed to help realize your full potential. But today, the world demands that we realize that potential faster than ever before. To be a steward of power is to understand that the influence you hold is a tool for bridging gaps. And today, Jamaica faces one of its most critical gaps yet, the execution gap. We see the vision for our nation, a global logistics hub, a digital society, a powerhouse for the Caribbean. We have the investment and the record low unemployment, yet we often find ourselves stalled at the finish line. Why? Because vision without the capacity to execute is just a dream. And if we are honest with ourselves, we must act with urgency, because we must or we risk losing the economic gains we have worked so hard to achieve. Thankfully, we're almost at full employment, which of course usually suggests a shortage of qualified labor. Minister Hill, you know, it must be divine intervention, because the last time I touched this topic, you were here. So I do believe it is something that requires deep discussion. A qualified person is someone with the right attitude, aptitude, and ability to learn. Being unemployed does not mean one is employable. As studies show that the longer a person remains unemployed or outside the formal sector, the more difficult it becomes for matriculation and full-time employment, as non-productive patterns and cultures have been adopted. This therefore makes it difficult for potential employers, especially MSMEs, who are the majority, to engage these persons. This brings us to a courageous and necessary conversation. The role of imported skilled labor. Yes, it's a very touchy topic, but I do believe I need to touch it because I've been in this business for over 30 years, and we're at full employment. In the 1960s, Jamaica experienced an economic golden era, growing at approximately 6% annually. The growth was fueled by a strategic decision to be open to welcome the specialized skills required to build a modern nation. Today, I'm advocating that we return to that same spirit of strategic openness. But we must also remove the emotion from this conversation and approach it with clarity and purpose. This is not complicated. It is not rocket science. Growth requires the right skills and at the right time. Our children need new teachers as they transition from different stages of learning. Organizations require new capabilities as they introduce new lines of business. And training must continuously evolve to match the demands of a changing world. Supporting the importation of skilled labor is not a sign of weakness. It is a masterclass in growth. By bringing in global expertise, we create a living classroom. We aren't just filling jobs, we're creating brain gain. When we pair an international specialist with a Jamaican middle manager, we ensure that knowledge does not simply pass through our country, it takes root here. We are not importing people to replace us. We're importing the blueprints so our people can build bigger than ever before. But as stewards of power, we must ensure these benefits for every Jamaican. We need a national framework for accountability. Mandatory skills transfer. Every work permit for a highly skilled role must include a structured pathway for training a Jamaican successor. Private sector investment. Business leaders must co-invest in the pipelines that allow our local workforce to absorb and master these new skills. Protecting our people. We must ensure that this approach lifts national standards without suppressing wages or limiting opportunities for Jamaican professionals. Middle managers, you are the unsung heroes of our economy and our country, but this year I'm asking you to be architects. You are the ones who will manage these diverse, globalized teams. You are the bridge between vision and execution. As I close, I must give thanks to the one who makes all this possible. We thank the Almighty God for his continued guidance as we enter our 16th year of Make Your Mark Consultants. To our incredible partners who have made this 2026 staging possible, we extend our deepest gratitude to our corporate giants who lead by example: Grace Kennedy Group, Sagicor Group, Digicel, JMMB, CIBC Caribbean. Your investment in this conference is an investment in the very fabric of Jamaican leadership. Thank you to our media and communication partners for carrying our message to the world: the Jamaica Observer, Nationwide News Network, Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Visual Vibe, Intelligent Multimedia, and Money Media. To the teams that ensure we look and run our best: IOTA Digital, Visual Tech Solutions, Monographic Printers, Supply County, The Essentials, and of course, our official decor partner, Quartz. You see all these? Quartz, ladies and gentlemen. And to our gracious hosts, the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. To my team and my family, thank you for being the wind beneath the wings of this vision. The next chapter of Jamaica's story will not be written by those who simply have ideas, but by the stewards who have courage to bridge those ideas into results. Let us lead with purpose, let us execute with excellence, and all together, let's make our mark. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Coke-Lloyd, for setting such a powerful foundation, sharing your 30 years of experience with us in this manner as we continue to lead with excellence and, be the architects of our organizations. Thank you so much. Now, bringing greetings from the business sector, we welcome a leader who understands the evolving demands of today's corporate landscape and the importance of strong adaptive management. He's the president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and former managing partner at Duncox Attorneys at Law. He has appeared in landmark cases before courts at all levels and the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, specializing in employment and civil litigation. He advises on labor law, contracts, and union bargaining. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Emile Leiba. Put your hands together for him, please.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, it is my distinct pleasure to extend warm greetings to the organizers of this Middle Managers Leadership Conference and to each of you gathered here today. The stage does feel, a bit like home or family, given, my pastor and members of the church, and Minister Hill, who I see several times a week now. And of course my colleague Talia. So it is indeed a pleasure to be here. It is interesting to be selected to give greetings on behalf of the private sector, because one of the things after I was thrust into my role late last year, I saw from Hurricane Melissa is what constitutes the private sector. Is the private sector anything that is not government? Is it comprised of entities that are profit-making, or is it comprised of all those who are simply interested, have a similar interest? Now, what Hurricane Melissa certainly showed me is that the collaboration that is necessary amongst the private sector in order for us to achieve objectives. So we brought together immediately the Chamber of Commerce, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, and of course leaders of businesses like my good friend Frank over there, who I also see weekly nowadays, where we all had to come together to collaborate to help to drive and partner with the government in its response to what was a national emergency. So within this room, we have individuals from different arms of the private sector who are coming here together again for a common purpose. And so what crisis shows you, I think, is how much you have in common. Many times we look at what we have apart, what it is that distinguishes our brand, what is it that distinguishes our company or skill set from everyone else. But what these global situation shows you is that how much or how important it is for all of us to consolidate, all of us to come together in the ways that matter to still compete healthily, all right, but still have a larger vision. And so certainly I am sure that by the end of this conference, we will all be charged with that larger vision, we'll charged with that energy, we'll be charged with that focus, so that as members of the private sector gathered together here in this room, and I don't know if the church wants to be called a part of the private sector. They're a part of every sector. They permeate, the Lord is with us in all elements and all aspects. But certainly as we spend time together, as we learn together, as we grow together, it is certainly hoped that at the end of this period, we will be a stronger unit. We'll have built relationships in this room. We'll have built collaborations in this room, and that we will all, at the end of this, stand a little bit more closely together as we work together from strength to strength. So, in respect of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, we engage daily with businesses across sectors. And of course, as has been said by the previous speakers, one thing is very clear, that leadership matters now more than ever. When it is that there is a crisis, we need to know who to look to. Now, sometimes that is a look in the mirror, and that also has its own burdens and challenges, because being a leader does not mean that you do not have your own personal challenges that you have to address. And you have to put yourself in a state of mind to be able to lead effectively. And what does that mean? That means that you need to ensure that you have addressed any concerns that you have, so those personal concerns don't come out in your leadership. So when it is that you are meant to stand as an example, not a perfect example, but when you're meant to stand as an example, that you pattern what it is that you want to see in those in whom you are leading. Because you have to lead by action. Leadership by words alone, divorced from action, is rarely ever an effective form of leadership. So as we join together, as we work together, in businesses of all sizes and shapes. I hope that we will, as I said earlier, come together. We will learn from those who have greater knowledge in particular areas of specialization. We will learn from their experiences, and we will end up a stronger private and public sector minister, and with God who permeates it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leiba. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker needs very little introduction. A trailblazer, a connector, and a global representative of excellence. He has consistently demonstrated what it means to lead with vision while delivering results on an international stage. He was appointed the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce in January 2022 with oversight of 22 agencies, including JAMPRO, the Cannabis Licensing Authority, the Trade Board Limited, Companies Office of Jamaica, Consumer Affairs Commission, and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all put our hands together and welcome Senator the Honorable Aubyn Hill.
Clearly, I'm very glad to be here. I cannot believe, Jackie, that this must be the third or so time I'm addressing this meeting and to see a full room. This is amazing organization and good work by your team. And congrats to the Middle Management Leadership Conferences that you have now conducted for 16 times. Governor Bowles, Richard Bowles, the Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Miss Natasha Marzov, the country representative for the IDB Group in Jamaica. Always good to see you, Natasha. Mr. Emile Leiba, who you've just heard, President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd, Convener and Managing Director of Make Your Mark Consultants. Now, she's been all over the world and lived in Kingston all her life, but I know she has a very strong St. Elizabeth connection that we both share. So I'm always happy to be here with her. Bishop Dwight Fletcher, Chairman of the Senior Pastor of Transformed Life Church, doing a great job there in that church. And I know your congregation is growing, and I've known Bishop Dwight for quite some time. Senior executives and middle managers of Jamaica, media practitioners, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be here as the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's Business Ministry, on behalf of Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness for the 16th Annual Middle Managers Leadership Conference. Now, that's why you heard the national anthem just now. Just make sure you keep it straight so I keep the job, all right? Don't worry, get it out of line. I'm here representing the PM this morning. The theme of this year's conference, Stewards of Power, Bridging Vision and Results, is both deeply relevant to the national conversation and Jamaica's economic direction. Stewardship is a matter both of personal and institutional leadership. It's not just for the institution where you reside as a practitioner, but you must have, good to see you there, Frank. Grace is present, always here with you, year after year. Mr. Frank James from Grace, lots of other distinguished people here. But stewardship is not just for the organization that you lead. It must start at a personal level where you must say, as young middle managers, that I have a responsibility to make sure I steward my life well. What do you stand for? Where do you stand when there are issues of controversy? Can you stand when you're expected to stand, when sitting and hiding would be easier? So stewardship, I said George bowed down his head because every day they have him standing up there nationwide. So it is also a strongly national imperative. It's a part of what has made Jamaica what we have become, but also part of what that must keep us being extremely good. I was talking to a conference in Montego Bay yesterday morning of drone makers in Jamaica. I went to one of the booths, and what they're doing, Mr. Pierman was there, and he was there the day before with the Indian External Affairs Minister. What I saw there is that they're doing amazing stuff. This came to my mind when I led one of 4 or 5 business missions to Guyana. A gentleman was there, Mr. Harris, Omar Harris, who makes drones. And he makes drones for agriculture primarily. And yesterday he was there. I was expected him to be there, saw him. And he has orders now that he's having a Steve Jobs problem when he started Apple. All the demand for Apple, and he couldn't face it. So we're going to channel him and give him some direction, because that's a very critical point. You can lose your company. In fact, Steve Jobs lost his. They brought in somebody from PepsiCo. That didn't work, and him come back and then take it over. So I said to them, look, don't just accept what Ukraine or Iran may have done. Get one of theirs, dismantle it, find out how to do it, re-engineer it, and come up with a brand new product, and make sure you register it on the Jamaica International Property Office, which is another of my agencies. Now, that goes for everybody.
Check 1, 2.
Make sure that you're creating things from what exists, so that we stretch the borders of our knowledge and our experience to be the kind of stewards that we have to be. It speaks to how we as Jamaicans manage our resources, run our institutions, and grasp opportunities over the long term. Jamaica entered 2026 with a resilient and fundamentally strengthened economy, but still facing challenging realities. Despite the disruptions brought by events such as Hurricane Melissa, the country has demonstrated its capacity to absorb shocks, recover, continue along a trajectory of growth and modernization, and yes, manage that through the tough times. Manage our debt from 147% or whatever it was, high up there, down to 64% before Melissa, and we have the fiscal structure in place. Yes, we may have to borrow a little bit more this time, but we're going to make sure we do not lose that discipline. And all of you in here who are young, we must not go back. Thank God the governor is here. We must not go back to where we borrowed that we couldn't manage. It's your responsibility to make sure people like me making policy do the right things. Of course, there's a method to go through it. One of them actually is running for elections. Elections do have consequences, and those who win have the chance to rule until the next time they have to run again. Public debt to GDP is now at its lowest level in decades. Our fiscal framework is anchored on strong discipline. Our currency, and unlike many in the region, is free-floating and still stable. I remember, Governor, when we were going to make the bank independent, many of my friends and yours from the business community said, what is going to happen to the currency? The Bank of Jamaica is not going to manage currency anymore. It's going to go all over the place because, you know, when there was a storm announced off Barbados, the currency started to shake. Not anymore. Have you seen what has happened? We've been through, yes, absolutely, through COVID, through Melissa, through storms, through Beryl, all of that too. And we never had to go out and borrow until Melissa, which is a category 5. And the wonderful thing Natasha will attest to is that unlike 2012, 2013, 14, we were going through that tough time, the international financial partners came to us and say, we know how you've managed. Here is a ticket, and there's $6.7, $6.5 million, 2.4, of course. Mr. James must go to the private sector. So we have the Bank of Jamaica staying within our target range of 4 to 6%. Productivity, exports, and diversification have to continue. Jamaica continues to export to traditional markets such as the United States, Canada, and the European Union, while deliberately deepening and diversifying trade across India, Africa, Asia, Latin America, of course, and the Caribbean. We are expanding presence in markets such as Japan and India, where demand for Jamaican coffee, liqueurs, agro-processed foods, and niche manufacturing goods continue to grow. I say this often, and I'm going to say it again, especially to young people. We cannot become the rich country that we must become, selling to only 3 million people that have a per capita GDP of only $7,000 US. Barbados is about 22, Trinidad is 25. We must not stay here. And the way we're going to do that is to be extremely productive. In other words, what you did yesterday with those resources, you must do 50% more today, same resources, and if you're really going to expand, then you get more money and get more productive. So we have to make sure we look at our agricultural products. Agro-processing is a priority area. Grace is involved in that. Agro-processing incubator is run by the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, one of the agencies in my ministry, and targeted financing for MSMEs we have been doing and will be doing more, designed to convert raw output into branded value-added products. Jamaica is positioning itself as an attractive, efficient, and profitable investment destination, with opportunities in high-level sectors such as fintech, logistics, sports, information technology, and renewable energy. I'm just going to mention fintech. Many of the people in Bermuda, and if Bermuda was an independent country, they would be third or fourth richest in the world with a per capita GDP of about 125,000. Luxembourg has about 156,000, is number 1. They compete with Liechtenstein for number 1 and 2. Singapore is right there behind them at about another 130,000. Ireland is up there. You see where they are? None of those 4 or 5 countries are big countries, but they're rich countries. There is no reason why we, being Jamaicans, having the experience that we now have, the knowledge that you are gaining, why we must not be a rich country because of how we produce and how we manage our effects. Fintech. Lots of the people in Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, are Jamaican accountants and Jamaican lawyers. We did not give them the legal ecosystem to be here in Jamaica. We have been changing that. We've set up a passed legislation to make sure we set up segregated accounts. We have to hold off until October when we do another test for FATF to get the rest of the legislation done. But by the end of this year, our fintech ecosystem means that many of those people who are accountants over there can come back here, set up their business, and earn those money right here and make our country stronger. The government is committed to it, and we're going to make sure we do it. At the same time, the government is committed to it. This is the minister that may have to do this, and it costs me. Make sure I do it. But don't worry, I don't sleep. I'm going to make sure we do it. Governor knows that I have to wait for a little bit, but right after that little bit, we'll be on it. So at the same time, investment in modern ports, warehousing. We're just talking about cement on the radio just now. And part of what Caribbean Cement may have to do is find more warehouses, because there are things that happen and you can't just always wait to bring it in. So you may have to store more. But there are lots of warehouses needed by lots of people. And global logistics, we have to become that place. You're looking at the map and you see the Gulf of Hormuz. You see all these little ships moving up and down. Well, just take the time. Go to the internet, bring up the shipping arrangements in the Caribbean, and you see how many thousands are in the Caribbean, and everyone has to pass by Jamaica. They come out of the Panama Canal, they have to pass through Jamaica. They come from the east, they have to pass by Jamaica. We're the natural place. The government is now going to spend money on 50 or 60 acres of land to make sure we de-risk the logistics center, because you can't invite people to come to Bush. You have to give them something. Must be nicely done. All of the utilities must be underneath. We'll build a customs house, and it's going to be great. So we're looking for growth in services, because sugar is gone. Banana is not ours anymore. And so the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, I'm not going to say much more here on that, because I'm going to say a lot in the Senate on Friday when we look to do the final push to pass that bill. It's necessary. You've heard me say many times, and I'm going to say it again, that the people who wrote the public procurement rules, and I wasn't here, I don't know them, it's not personal, must have believed that most Jamaicans or all Jamaicans are thieves. It was made to lock up your foot, tie up your hands, and tell you how you must do process and get nothing done. Where we're not into that anymore. We've had a Category 5 hurricane. If we don't move very fast, 10 years you won't get anything done. In 3 or 4 years, you mustn't recognize Jamaica in the way it has changed for the better. So we are going to have to do that, and yes, we're going to be accountable. Of course, you have the Integrity Commission, you have Cabinet, you have the Parliament, you have 3 different committees of Parliament that must look over what happens. How do you mean we're not going to be accountable? We are going to be accountable, but we're going to move faster than we've ever moved in the past to make sure this country gets to where we have to go. I mustn't say anything more than that, because I'm representing the Prime Minister. I have to keep within my lane. So, I commend the organizers of this conference for creating a platform that encourages reflection on leadership, management, and performance in our institutions. The Andrew Holness administration remains committed to supporting an environment in which Jamaican businesses can thrive, invest in high-value sectors, and expand their reach into new international markets. Listen to me, go look at that drone thing, even as you look at AI. I've been to UTech, see what they're doing. CMU is doing wonderful stuff. Drones are where you can go very quickly and build businesses and get markets. Congrats to the Middle Management Leadership Conference. Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd, thank you for the work that you put in year after year. I see letters come to me. I'm always happy to help. Sometimes I have to get here in this fashion representing the PM. I invite all partners, especially the young ones, and business people here today, to join in this noble national effort to cement our political independence, which many, many people admire and come here to see how we run elections. We don't do any mail-in ballots. You must put your finger in the ink. We must count the votes by the end of the day, and the next morning our Prime Minister, if he's repeating, as we have done, and we don't expect that there be no more non-repeating, as whoever is the Prime Minister is back in Jamaica House the next morning. That political independence, which is so valuable and so great to be Jamaican, we must support that political independence with very robust and sustained economic independence, which is where all of us, especially you, come in. This is my idea of sustainable development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join us on this very noble national journey of Jamaica's resilient resurgent. I wish you every success in your conquest. Thank you very much.